Hey you guys! I've been wanting to make a comic and a game, and today I'm designing a cafe background art that will be used in the first chapter of this comic. The art in this video might end up looking all messy, but regardless, let's dive right in and let me show you what I did. Where do we begin? The first question I will be asking myself is, what do I want this cafe to look like? I will be hopping on a Pinterest to create a mood board that will be acting as my guide. So some of the things that could be included are the colors I like, objects that I may want to add to the cafe, or anything that sparks inspiration. Personally, I like designs that feel warm, so I've included the cute little jugs and wooden chairs and tables. Anything cute and warm looking will be added because I want my readers to feel relaxed. What's next is to figure out the size of the cafe. Will it going to be a teeny tiny small cafe, or is it going to be a big spacious place? For my story, this is going to be a cute little cafe in a cute little village. With that in mind, I can start thinking about things like how many tables and chairs will I need and where will they go? Where are the windows and where will the customers come in from? Also, how will it connect to the outdoor design? Because I had this sketch from ages ago and I didn't want to waste the idea. So I just worked with this design in mind as well. When I know where the chairs and tables and everything else that goes in this space, I wanted to get a better feel of the cafe and sort out anything that I was still unsure about before diving into the concept art. Things still might change, but at least this will give me a clear direction while I work on the art. Besides, this design was based on some of my older concept art, so there was actually less guesswork, and it was more like confirming with myself on how things were going to go. There were a bunch of ideas I wanted to keep, like the window position, and most of the furniture will be staying where they are. Any new updates I'll be adding will be to match with the mood board. Okay, now we get to work on the concept art. We will be starting with a simple box. I want to keep things simple as possible at first because trying to make something epic right away just makes things harder for myself. So we will slowly build on from here. Once the lines for the room is there, I can first think of putting what kind of big furnitures go in. So that would be the counter, a big shelf, and the window on the side. I'm just going to chip away at adding furnitures one by one, kind of thinking about the big picture first, and seeing previous art as a reference on where things go. I realized that, the box was too small for the room, so you will see me expanding the room here and there over time as I keep adding furniture. I would like to talk about how I used perspective rulers in Procreate, but I'll save that for another video. For now, I just keep going, sort of testing the ideas on how individual objects will look like and whether if they look good together with other things. But at some point throughout this piece, I realized that when I was placing the furniture, the space felt a bit boring. I started watching a few cartoons for inspirations, and I was trying to think why I like their world. What stood out to me when I was watching is that they all have a theme for each locations. That gave me the idea to try it out myself to set a theme for the cafe. What I decided to go with is coffee bean and plants. I picked coffee bean because the cafe's name is Coffee Bean Cafe, and I really wanted to add more plants to this comic series for that cozy look. Having a theme actually helped me decide what I wanted to include in this space, and it guided me on how I would design certain objects, especially if they needed a funky twist to make them unique and memorable. So you will see me going back and forth between designs as well as colors. I couldn't quite decide for a while what felt right. And for ages, this piece wasn't exciting me that much. But that's okay, because once I started to polish the smaller objects, this concept art started to feel more substantial. and then I knew that I was on the right path. It took a bit of time, but it was definitely worth the hassle. Now, I added lots and lots of interesting objects, I think, but one thing I've told myself is maybe I shouldn't put too many things. Like, I don't want it to feel cluttered, unless that was the goal, but not in this case, because after all, the characters are the main focus, and I wanted to keep the details easy on the eyes. And at some point, I started overthinking things too much, like the design of coffee bean bags or tea boxes. I mean, not gonna lie, it was really fun, because I love making things believable and give story to everything I'm drawing. But the takeaway I wanted to have here was to find the right balance. You don't want to give it too much details, and not too little either. As the piece was nearing its end, I made slight adjustments, making shapes rounder to match the coffee bean theme. I didn't want to be too random with the object design, so I tried to be intentional wherever I can, and having the theme, again, was a good guide for me. So for example, I initially had the chairs and the table squares, because that was really easy to work with the rulers, but because we have the coffee bean theme, I wanted to match the roundness throughout a few objects, like the lamp, the mat, and coffee cups. And last step of this piece is I wanted to check the mood board one more time and whether if the drawing and the mood board matched the atmosphere. In my case, I think I went a bit too dark using the green because I was focusing on plant theme so much, but obviously in the mood board it's quite light with yellow and beige, so I brought that back together, especially like on the doors and the wall. And that definitely helped with lifting the image of this place. And there you have it. Looking back at it now, even just a week later, I can see a lot of areas that I want to improve, but instead of being stuck on it, I will move on and save that for another time. Background art still makes me dread it at first, but compared to last time, I think I'm starting to become more confident, especially as I figure out what I need to focus on, having clear steps working on background art. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of other places that I need to design, so I'll keep sharing how I build these things. Things will be slow here, but thank you so much for hanging out, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!